The Bengals are down another cornerback with injury, and taylor-britt is at the lowest point in his career. It's not looking too promising at the position right now, which is why in this video, I'll explain why it's the perfect time for a Bengals rookie to step up and make a name for himself. Hi again, Bengals fans. John Sheeran of A-to-Z Sports Cincinnati here, and another starter for the Bengals is on injured reserve now, as DJ Turner is set to miss at the very minimum the next 3 games in 4 weeks since the Bengals are on a bye week this week. Turner officially broke his clavicle against the Chargers. He landed awkwardly on his shoulder after deflecting a deep pass away from Chargers receiver Quentin Johnson. It was not only one of the better plays that he's made in his career, it was during one of the best games of his career, as he was really finding his stride after taking over for another injured starter in Dax Hill about a month ago. But this is now 2 starting cornerbacks that the Bengals have lost to potentially season-ending injuries. We don't know for sure if Turner is done for the year. Zach Taylor wouldn't rule out him returning at some point this season, but at the very least, he's out for the foreseeable future, and the Bengals' cornerback depth is not looking too hot right now. Now, they did replace Turner's roster spot with another cornerback as they claimed Marco Wilson off of waivers this week, but Wilson is not necessarily an answer as a starter. He wasn't a starter with the Patriots. He hasn't been a starter since a couple years ago when he was with the Arizona Cardinals. He's not necessarily that type of answer right now. And honestly, I don't think he has to be. I do think that they needed another body there, but I think the answer to replacing Turner as a starter is already on the roster. That's because when Turner got injured, on the field with him as a starter was rookie Josh Newton, who was playing for taylor-britt, who got benched for the second time this year. And just like Turner, Newton was having a pretty solid game against the Chargers when he came in for taylor-britt, who was struggling massively and was one of the main reasons why the Chargers scored 24 points in the first half. Just as a refresher, Josh Newton was a 5th-round pick from the NFL draft this season. He played at TCU. He was a transfer there. He was a big part of the reason why TCU ended up going to the college football playoff a couple years ago. He was kind of an older prospect coming out, but he had a lot of production in college. The only reason why he lasted until the 5th round is because he's a little bit undersized and he's not that athletic. He was only like a 4'5" guy coming out of college. But aside from that lack of athleticism and maybe a lack of length, the tenacity, the preparation, a great practice player, a lot of ball skills to him as well. There are a lot of qualities to like about Josh Newton, and I think the reason why he ended up on the field for taylor-britt in that situation in the first place is because of all that work that he's been putting in this season during practice and as a backup. Now, me personally, I think the long-term plan for Josh Newton is to replace Mike Hilton in the slot as the nickelback. I think that role fits his size and athleticism. It wouldn't put him on an island against bigger, stronger, faster wide receivers that he would face on the boundary. I think inside is where he ultimately ends up, but this is a great opportunity for him to get exposure as a starter, to play significant snaps, to play somewhat meaningful football because the Bengals aren't technically eliminated from playoff contention. This is a great opportunity for Newton to prove to the coaching staff that he belongs on the field in the long term. And to be perfectly frank, this is what the last 7 weeks of this season are all about. It's trying to figure out which players on the roster are worth keeping around for the long term, because let's face it, they're not going to be able to run it back this offseason with the same coaching staff, with the same core players. There are going to be a lot of changes after such a disappointing and frustrating season. But Josh Newton has 3 years left on his rookie deal. He has a lot of promise. I think he's earned a lot of trust in that locker room and with that coaching staff. But this is the opportunity to prove all of that, to validate all the work that he's been putting in. If he shows up week in and week out, has some consistency, and picks up where Turner left off, I think that's going to bode well for him for earning a role in 2025 and beyond, whatever that may be. Also, how could you not root for a guy already with a good nickname? I mean, Fig Newton just rolls off the tongue. If you want a legitimate reason for watching the Bengals for the rest of this season, it's about watching the young players prove themselves worthy of being around for the long term. And Josh Fig Newton, yeah, he's going to be one of those guys.